Have you ever wondered how a really dense, complex report gets turned into something clear, engaging, and actually useful? Well, today we're going to pull back the curtain on a super powerful method called the Decode blueprint. It's the system we use for turning expert knowledge into practical wisdom you can act on.
So let's just picture this for a second. You've got this incredible source material. It is packed with data, deep insights, expert analysis. The value is absolutely there. The potential is just massive. But here's the catch. In reality, it probably looks something like this. This is an actual presentation on using AI in small and medium-sized businesses. It's got all these charts on token data, quotes from computer science legends, and some really technical roadmaps. It's brilliant stuff for sure, but man, is it dense.
And that, right there, leads to the big question, doesn't it? How on earth do you get a busy manager, a director, someone who makes the decisions, to just stop, listen, and take this all in? Their time is everything. And a 50-page technical document, it just isn't going to happen.
So this is the exact challenge we're going to tackle. It's all about moving from that feeling of overwhelming complexity to a place of real, confident clarity. And listen, this isn't about dumbing the information down. Not at all. It's about structuring it so that its brilliance can really shine.
The answer is this really elegant, repeatable blueprint. It's a framework, and it's designed to systematically take apart any complex source and then rebuild it into an explainer that's not just clear, but genuinely actionable for that busy leader we're talking about.
And here it is, the Decode blueprint. It's a pretty simple process that guides us all the way from that raw material to the final polished product. Honestly, this is the secret sauce.
So here's the blueprint itself. It's a nice, clean 5-step flow. First, we analyze the source to really get it. Second, we find 4 core themes to build our story around. Third, we build a narrative for each of those themes. Fourth, we polish it all up by injecting some strategic keywords. And finally, step 5, we deliver a really powerful call to action. We're going to walk through this in 3 main phases. Let's dive into the first one. Okay, so the first big phase of the blueprint is all about finding your themes. This is where we take that deep analysis from step 1 of the blueprint and use it to complete step 2. Identifying the big ideas, the main pillars that are going to hold up the entire explainer.
And this is how that process turns chaos into order. I love this. On the left, you've got all these raw concepts from that AI presentation. Just scattered ideas, right? Token data, industry examples, ethics. But on the right, you see how they get grouped into 4 clear, powerful themes for an AdD Decode show. And just like that, boom, we have our structure. The scale of AI, AI in your industry, a practical rollout strategy, and the human-centric approach.
So once we have our 4 themes locked in, we move on to the next phase, building the narrative. Now, for each theme, the blueprint uses this simple but incredibly effective little story loop. You identify a pain point, give a relatable example, and then deliver a clear call to action.
Let's use our practical rollout strategy theme as an example. What's the #1 fear for a business leader here? Well, it's usually the pain of a huge, expensive project that's going to disrupt everything. The source material actually mentioned rentabilidad, which is profitability. And that taps right into this anxiety. And this just makes that pain point so real by giving it a human voice. This quote, yeah, it's fictional, but it captures that real-world feeling perfectly. It makes the problem feel urgent and relatable. This isn't some abstract challenge anymore. It's a real barrier for a manager. And here's the solution. A clear call to action that hits that pain point head on. The key verb is automate. We're not telling them they have to boil the ocean here. The advice is simple. Start small. Find one specific high-impact task you can automate. That way you prove the value quickly. It turns that overwhelming feeling into a totally manageable first step.
All right, the final phase of the blueprint is to polish and finalize everything. This covers the last 2 steps, injecting those strategic keywords and crafting the final call to action. This is all about being really intentional with our language to build a clear, consistent brand identity. The key here is consistency. A list of core brand keywords, like the ones you see here, gets woven naturally into every single explainer. Words like project management, process automation, and practical, scalable solutions start to become synonymous with the brand, and that builds a really recognizable identity over time.
Now this is a really clever touch. On top of the core keywords, there's a rotating keyword that's chosen specifically for each topic. So for our AI presentation source, workflow automation in SMBs is a perfect fit. It just shows a really deep, strategic understanding of both the topic and the audience.
And when you put it all together, the themes, the narrative structure, the strategic keywords, what do you get? Well, you get a powerful, consistent, and incredibly valuable result. Every single time.
The end result is a perfectly crafted piece of content that ends with a powerful, branded call to action. Something just like this. See how those key verbs are right there? Streamline, automate, scale. Everything ties back to the blueprint. It builds a consistency that creates a loyal audience who knows exactly what to expect. Complexity, decode it.
And that brings us right to the end. The AdD Decode Blueprint really is a masterclass in turning dense information into actionable insight. So I guess the only question left for you is this: what complex topic are you going to decode first? Thanks for watching.